So at this point in the unit, we start to look at a little bit more complex pieces in regards to statistics. Something called the standard deviation. I mentioned it before a little bit, but now we're going to study it in depth. So teacher has two chemistry classes, gives the same test to both classes, and I want to examine the mean mark for each of the classes and to compare the results. So the mean is the average, and to do that, easiest way with these ones, we can just add them all up and divide by 5. But we're not going to do just that. We're actually going to look at another piece. We're going to look at the standard deviation. So to do the standard deviation, it's either an incredibly involved, complex calculation, or we'll let the graphing calculator do it for us. So we're going to let the graphing calculator do it for us. Uh, we'll also use it to get the mean, just so we're doing one thing at one time. So turn to the graphing calculator to enter the data, and I'm using the iPhone version. It looks exactly the same if you look using the handheld or the Android tablet version. To enter the data, we hit Stat, Edit, and we enter the data. I'm going to do Class A first, so 94, 56, 89, 67, and 84. Remember, please hit enter after the last item so it actually accepts into the list. We'll get out of this, we'll press second mode. To get into the statistical analysis, again, we press stat, but this time we use the calculate menu. Option 1 is all we'll be using, and enter to calculate it out. Gives us everything we need. I'm going to set this table up a little bit in reverse. So I have asked for the mean. I'm also going to write down the standard deviation now, because we will deal with that in a second. The mean on the calculator is the X with a bar over the top of it. It is the first item in the list, which is 78. So class average on this test is 78, not too bad. The standard deviation is fifth down on the list. It is sigma X. The sigma kind of looks like a little tadpole. That would be 14.27. That's all we're going to look at right now. We're not going to look at the other pieces of data at this point. So we'll clear that out. Go back into the stat menu, edit again. I'll delete out class A to do it all in one batch. Scroll up to L1, highlight the list, clear, and enter to clear it. Enter the marks for class B, 84, 77, 76, 81, 74. Again, enter for the last item. And if I'm going too fast right now to follow along with the calculator, please pause the video as you need to get caught up with the calculator, then start it again. We'll quit, we'll hit second mode, back to the stat menu, calculate, option 1, and enter. So here looking at the mean for class B is 78.4, which is incredibly close to class A. So for the purposes of this, we'll say that it's close enough. We'll say that the mean or the class average is the same. But the standard deviation, sigma x, 3.61. That is significantly different from class A. Now, what the standard deviation tells us, it is a measure of the spread of data. It's similar to the range, except the range takes into account every piece of data and goes from the high point to the low point. The standard deviation takes it and it does a mathematical calculation to, in a way, average it out. So what we can see on Class A having a 14.27 standard deviation, there is a big spread in the data. Which, if we just look at the scores that the kids got, we can see that we go anywhere from a low of 56 to a high of 94. You average those out, you'll get your 78. Some kids did really well, some kids did really poorly. Class B, the high mark is only 84 and the low is only 74. So these marks are much more consistent than Class A. So we can use the standard deviation as a measure of how wide the data is spread. A big value of the standard deviation would indicate a wide spread, as well as the consistency. So Class B has a small spread, means everything was very consistent.